Hi, thanks for coming by. This is Artsy Wisdom. My name is Diane. I appreciate any and all people who are visiting for the first time, all my subscribers, all my people that are commenting. If you have something you'd like me to do a reading on, I would love it if you put it below. I do hypnotherapy, I do life coaching, I'm an astrologer. I also read tarot cards and I channel spirit. I use paper crumpling and other tools to help me see energy and get into other people's situations so I can figure out what's going on. Try to stay as positive as possible. I do work with current events, so if there's anything or anybody you want me to read on, that would be awesome. You can let me know. Today I'm talking about judging others. I was talking to a family member the other day about judging, and we both said how it was very difficult sometimes to not judge. And so I go through this step-by-step process when I find myself doing that. And it's second nature sometimes to judge, and we seem like we fall into that pattern very easily. But I'm going to give you a couple ideas and like maybe 3 or 4 steps to ask yourself, and then some ideas at the end that you can work through. And these may not all work for you. You might have to use them differently, but just a thought. If this is something you're struggling with or anything that you're trying to work on. Well, so I want you to think about if you see somebody, say it's somebody with crazy hair or somebody that you judge about the way they look, or somebody the way they act, or the choices they're making in their life. That's a hard one because you feel like your choices would be more healthy or smarter sometimes. But I'd like you to, the first thing I would say is, are you focusing on their differences to distract yourself from what in your life needs work? I found this a lot where, not just me, but other people, where they're going round and round and saying really negative things about people that it really isn't technically any of their business, but they really obsess about it because their life has all kinds of issues that they can't remedy. So instead of focusing that energy within them or their family or whatever there's problem, they're looking elsewhere. So ask yourself, is that something is possible in your situation? And is the judging or the negative perception of people something you inherited from your family? Did you come from a family that just berated people or, crabbed about people that you saw on the road and complained, and it became a natural or a second nature thing where you saw people and you picked them apart? That's a very common thing in families, certain families, not all of them, of course, but maybe ask yourself, is that something that you can work on, or taking people apart, with their words and looking down at people. The third thing is, do you feel like you have no choices? Are you powerless? A lot of times people who feel like they're powerless or they don't have the ability in their life to take control, they tend to turn into other people because that's the way they can feel like they have control. So if somebody's walking down the street with red and purple hair, or a guy's got painted fingernails, or somebody, is really heavy, and make fun of them, are you doing that because you feel like that's the only thing you can control and you feel powerless? So in a way, that's kind of a bully mentality. Not that I'm trying to be mean to you guys, but just I'm asking you to ask yourself these questions and be honest. If you're ready to eliminate that behavior in your life, if you're all good, you wouldn't be watching this video. Now, here are 5 different ideas for you to contemplate, or let them sit for a while and see if they work for you, any of them in any situation. Ask yourself, what kind of character does this person have? You may see their hair color, you may see their skin color, you may see their weight, you may see their clothing, you may see just different aspects of them or the way they act, and it may bother you, or you may find yourself judging. Ask yourself, number 1, what kind of character do they really have? If you have the opportunity to to see them in action or to watch them or to speak with them, ask yourself, what is their character? Because that is ultimately the barometer. A lot of times, can't judge a book by its cover. I know that's a cliche, but number one, ask what kind of character they have, and maybe you'll start to see their differences in a different light, and they may become less significant to you. Number two, find something positive in the situation. Find something positive about them. Perhaps somebody is heavier or whatever, or they have different kind of color hair, and you think, you know what? I'm judging them because maybe I don't have the courage to do that, and maybe I'd want to. So instead, you take it out, you judge them for something that maybe you're tempted to do, and they have more courage to do it, and perhaps that has something to do with it. Also, if you're working with somebody that you're judging, or find the positive about them. Perhaps they create something or they work in a way that's super annoying. Maybe there's something else you can imagine that they do really well, that if they weren't there to do that, your life would be different. Find the positive. Number three, remind yourself you have not lived their lives. So many people, especially those, people judge when somebody gets divorced. People judge when people live in a lifestyle that isn't anything they would choose. Remind yourself, you have not been in their skin. You have not had the childhood they have. You have not had the parents. You don't have the emotional situation. This is a whole completely different situation. Say a veteran is very self-destructive after he comes back because he's so traumatized. You don't know what he's been through. That's an extreme example, but you don't know what people have been through, what they've experienced. So take a step back and maybe have a little bit more sympathy or empathy about them. Number four, what are you grateful for? Sometimes we feel when we're powerless and we feel like we have zero choices, like previously spoken about. When we are grateful, we find so much more happiness in the world. We're grateful for the day's sunshine. We're grateful for the food on the table. We're grateful to be able to walk and talk and being alive. And we're grateful for the family members. We're grateful for friends. If the family's a problem, you're grateful for friends. You're grateful for your pet. You're grateful for being able to smile, or, anything that you can think of. Be able to have the small things in life alleviates so much of that judgment on others and also yourself. Because when we judge others, we are generally putting ourselves in a different category. And finally, I would ask, from a spiritual perspective, people say, what would Jesus do? From a spiritual perspective, from a big picture perspective, spiritual perspective, being kind is never a wrong thing to do. Being kind and being loving, being sympathetic is never wrong. You do have to have good boundaries. You don't want to be a floor or doormat, but being kind and sympathetic makes your heart grow. What would the God within you, within all of us, say or do for this person? They would see them as perfect. Look at them in the big picture. We're here for a short time. We're here just to love each other. So these are just some ideas for you to ponder. Hopefully they'll help you. And again, if you like this or have any comments about it, please put them below. I'd appreciate it. And thanks again for coming by.